Welcome to Portugal, where I've been invited alongside a couple hundred journalists to test the car behind me. Can you guess what it is? Of course you can, because you already saw the title of this video. This is the brand new Duster, a car that wrote history for the Romanian brand Dacia ever since it was launched back in 2010. This is the third generation, and so far Dacia managed to sell 2.2 million of these cars, and this is the newest iteration, and we're about to find out everything that changed on it and what it brings to the table. This is it, and it looks quite awesome, to be honest. Now, Dacia did tell us when they unveiled the Bigster concept that the Bigster and the new Duster will be sharing a lot of the design cues, and they weren't lying. If you're looking at this car straight on, you will notice a more upright face, a more aggressive design, and new lines, but at the same time it does share its brand identity visuals with the rest of the lineup. So what you can notice here is the new grille along with the new Dacia logo, and the fact that we have a very small camera hidden right here in under the new Dacia logo. We do have new headlamps. They are a bit wider and thinner, in line with what the industry does today, and we still have this Y-shaped DRL element over here, while the headlamps will still be using LED technology. So not a bad look for Dacia. There are so many other details to look at though. For example, how wide the front fenders are, and they match the rear fenders as well. All these horizontal lines and the fact that the car seems to have been squished a bit make it seem, at least when you first look at it, as if it has grown in size. But if you look at the technical specs, you will notice that it has the exact same length as the outgoing model. It's still a 4.34 meter long car, which fits it right in the B segment for crossovers these days. So it didn't grow in terms of size, but it does have a new platform underneath it. It has the CMF B platform from Renault, and that means it can use new technology. I'm going to talk about that when we get inside, but for now let's talk about this element right here. It's been done from plastic, and when the mold is done, the paint is injected straight into it. Why did Dacia decide to do this? Because if you do that, if you scratch this area up front, and you can see it has a slightly bigger profile, if you do that, whenever you scratch it, the paint doesn't get damaged. So sure, you'll have some scratches on it, but you don't have to repaint the whole front end. That's a smart move. Now, you will notice this material here. It's called Starkle, and it was introduced on the Manifesto concept a while back. It is done using 20% recycled plastics from the ocean. As you can see, that's the Atlantic Ocean, and it bears its name because it has these white flakes in it that make it seem as if it sparkles. Quite an interesting take from Dacia, and I have to say it does look really nice. I also like this insert over here that says Duster on it, but I don't like the fact that we have this recycle logo over here. It makes it seem as if the whole car has been recycled. Now, in terms of wheels, we have bigger wheels on this new model, up to 18 inches, and this is just one of the new designs. This is the Duster Extreme version. So what you need to know is that since the platform has evolved, now the Duster is a more mature car. So you can actually go two ways. You can go the extreme way, which is this model with 4x4 and a higher ground clearance of 21.7 centimeters, or you can go for a car that will be mainly used around town, which will be the Journey package. That's a lower riding car, and it has a different design overall. It doesn't have these copper side mirrors and a couple of other details. From the sides, it looks a bit more squished in my view, and it seems like the windows have gotten a bit thinner, I mean shorter, whatever you want to call them. And in case you're planning on taking this car off-roading, you should know that the extreme version, the one with 4x4 with a four-wheel drive system, has an approach angle of 31 degrees and a departure angle of 36 degrees. That's because of the short overhangs over here in the back. And if you look closely at the taillights, you will still notice the Y shape I was talking about earlier. Since this is an extreme model, we have the Dacia logo in brown, copper brown, and that tells you everything you need to know. This is the boot, quite low, I know, but this is a double floor, so you can have a floor up to this level if you want to, or even lower. This is lower because you can actually fit a sleep bag in it. I showed you that on the Jogger. Basically, you can turn the interior of the car into a sleeping space with that option. And this is 472 liters at most. And as you can see, the jack has been moved over here. Let's just hope you don't really need it. Now let's hop inside. As you can see, the handle for the rear doors has been moved over here, and let's check the quality. This is a hard plastic door card. It's basically the same quality we found on the previous generation model, not unless it has changed. We have a storage space over here, not quite a huge opening, and of course this is the interior. Now, we do have TEP plastics over here, so you don't have any leather options, but this has been configured just so that it can be easily cleaned in case you want to go off-roading and so on. Let's check the room. Mind you, this seat is a bit towards the back because a taller person sat in it, so it's not adjusted for my comfortable driving position, but there's plenty of room still. The same goes for the headroom. And what I would like to point out is the material used for this upholstery. It feels really nice and it looks really nice. I don't know if you can tell, but it looks a lot better than the creamy stuff we had on the older model. And this is the new dashboard. We'll hop in the front in a minute, but it does look a lot better. Now, you can figure out that these are Y-shaped air vents, yeah, in the same copper brown color that we've seen on the outside. I also like the steering wheel a lot. It's flat at the bottom, flat at the top. It looks a lot better, next level. And we have a new infotainment system. The front door card is done in the same plastic, and here's the Y shape again inside. These are the front seats, so the same material used, and they seem to be a lot more comfortable right now. And let's talk about the infotainment system. So 10.1 inches, but this will not come as standard. This will be available on higher level spec models. Otherwise, you don't even get the screen over here. You will have to use your phone. So it moves really well, as you can see. It has everything you could possibly need, from a wireless Android Auto to wireless Apple CarPlay. You can control the heating stuff over here, the HVAC controls. You have a heated steering wheel now, which is a first for a Duster, and you can also control the HVAC using these buttons. We have the Duster logo over here, looks really good, and a new instrument cluster. It's digital, it's a first for the Duster, and it has different ways of showing your useful information. Buttons taken from Renault, and this is the manual gear shift lever. We have a wireless charging pad over here, two USB-C chargers over here, and a storage space over here, two cup holders, and everything you could possibly need. And let's take a look at the cameras. I don't think I can right now because this car is in service mode. But overall, plenty of room. We have plenty of useful storage spaces, and you will fit easily inside this car. Naturally, you will be interested in what kind of engine choices you will have at your disposal. So, no more diesels, that's gone. And the only remaining engines you have will be hybrids and a GPL one. So the range starts with a 1 liter GPL model, Eco G, with 100 horsepower. So LPG is still seen as a very valuable asset by Dacia. Then you have the 1.2 liter mild hybrid with 3 cylinders. We've seen it on the Renault Austral. It's a mild hybrid with 130 horsepower and 230 Newton meters of torque. And that is the only one you can get with all-wheel drive, but only with a manual gearbox, 6-speed manual gearbox. The same goes for the Eco G. It can only be had with a 6-speed gearbox, manual gearbox. And then you have the 1.4 liter hybrid version, full hybrid version, the 1.6 liter hybrid version. That's with 140 horsepower, and it's the only one you can have with an automatic gearbox. We've seen that engine on the Jogger. You can see my review with it on my channel. So unfortunately, you still cannot get a Duster with all-wheel drive and an automatic gearbox. That said, I know this is just the first contact with the car. We will drive it in April. That's when the sales will kick off. The car will be presented to the audience, to the worldwide audiences at the Geneva Motor Show in late February, early March. And sales will kick off this spring. Pricing hasn't really been announced yet, but it varies depending on the country, of course. But the CEO of Dacia told us last night that it will start at under 19,000 euros, but as for how expensive it can get, he also told us that it won't go over 30,000. So do what you will with this info. This has been my presentation of the new Duster, and until we get to drive it, you'll have to make do with the information I just gave you. Until next time, of course, don't forget to like, share, and of course, subscribe to my channel to keep it alive. Ciao.